Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, I am going to explain Python generators. And you know why this matters? Because most developers write code that works on small samples but crashes the moment it hits a production scale dataset. I have seen systems go down during batch processing because they tried to load a 5 GB file into memory all at once. Generators are the single most effective way to prevent this. So what happens when you process large data? Imagine you have a log file with 10 million entries. If you read that file and store every line in a list, you are asking Python to hold all 10 million strings in your RAM at the same time. If each line is small, you might get away with it. But if you are doing this across multiple concurrent requests, your memory usage will spike instantly. That is the real pain point. Your application is not just slow, it is fragile because it is holding onto data it does not need yet. So what is a generator really? It is a function that pauses its execution and yields a value, then waits to be called again. Think of it like a water faucet. Instead of filling an entire swimming pool just so you can take one drink, the faucet gives you a single glass of water exactly when you need it. You consume the data, discard it, and only then does the generator produce the next piece. This lazy evaluation is the key to memory-efficient programming. Before we get into the code, let us make sure you are ready. First, you need a computer running a modern operating system like Windows, macOS, or Linux. Second, you must have Python version 3.9 or newer. You can verify this by opening your terminal and running the Python version command as shown on screen. If you do not have it, grab the official installer from the Python website. Just remember to add it to your system path during installation. Finally, have a text editor open so you can follow along with the examples. Take a moment to review each point shown on screen. So how does this work internally? The generator function acts as a state machine. When you call next on the generator, it runs until it hits a yield statement. It then freezes its entire state, including local variables, and hands the value over to the consumer loop. The consumer gets the data, processes it, and then asks for the next item. The generator wakes up, resumes exactly where it left off, and continues until it hits the next yield or the end of the function. This cycle continues without ever loading the entire sequence into memory. Let us look at a simple example. Here, the COUNTUP2 function is a generator. Instead of returning a list, it yields the count. When we call this function, it does not actually run the loop yet. It returns a generator object. When our for loop calls it, we get the first number, print it, and then the loop asks for the next one. On line 4, the function pauses, hands over the number, and waits. Perfect. As you can see, the output shows the processing happen one by one. If we had 10 million items, the loop would handle them one at a time, never consuming more memory than a single integer requires at any given moment. That is the power of lazy evaluation. You have probably used list comprehensions before, but notice the difference on screen. Using square brackets creates the entire list in memory immediately. Using parentheses creates a generator expression. This calculates the square of x only when you call next. For 1 million items, the list comprehension would eat up several megabytes of RAM. The generator expression takes almost zero extra memory. The output is exactly what we expect. We get the first two squares, calculated on demand. The remaining 999,000 items have not even been touched by the CPU yet. That is exactly right. Here is how a senior engineer would handle a large CSV file. We define a generator that opens the file and yields one row at a time. The with statement ensures the file is closed properly, even if an error occurs. In our main loop, we process one record, finish it, and move to the next. Even if that file is 50 gigabytes, This script will run with a constant memory footprint of just a few kilobytes. This is how you build robust data pipelines. The success output confirms that we are iterating through the file row by row. This approach is the industry standard for ETL tasks, or extract, transform, load processes, where you cannot afford to crash the pipeline because of a single massive batch file. What happens if you try to reuse a generator? You get a stop iteration error. Generators are one-way streets. Once they are exhausted, they are done. You cannot rewind them. If you need the data again, you must call the generator function again to get a fresh instance. This is the exact error you will see. It happens because the generator has finished its sequence and has nothing left to yield. The fix is to wrap your generator creation in a factory function or simply recreate it whenever you need to start from the beginning. Consider this. A logistics company handling 2 million global shipments per day was experiencing backend crashes during their nightly data reconciliation. Their existing code tried to load all daily shipment records into a massive dictionary. By simply migrating their file parsing logic from list-based loading to generator-based streaming, they reduced peak memory usage from 16 gigabytes down to 200 megabytes. This change did not just stop the crashes. It allowed them to run the reconciliation on much smaller, more cost-effective cloud instances, saving them thousands of dollars in monthly infrastructure costs. So when should you use these? The first point is data volume. If your data is too big for RAM, use a generator. The second point is streaming. If you have an infinite sequence, like sensor data, you have no choice but to use a generator. Third, use them for pipeline transformations to keep memory low. Now, when should you avoid them? If you need to access items by index, like jumping straight to the 10th row, generators are not for you because they are sequential. Finally, if you need to sort your data, you have to use a list, because sorting requires knowing every single element beforehand. Use these criteria to decide if this tool is right for your situation. To wrap up, remember these points. Generators implement lazy evaluation, so they only calculate values on demand. You define them with the yield keyword, which pauses the function but keeps your variables ready for the next call. Use generator expressions as a direct, memory-efficient replacement for list comprehensions. And finally, never forget that generators are single-use iterators. You have to recreate them if you need to start the sequence over. These concepts are the foundation of writing professional, scalable Python code. I believe this video will definitely be a useful video. If you like the video, please do like and hype the video. Also share it with your friends and groups. It may be useful to somebody else. If you have any doubts or any requests, please let me know in the comments. Make sure you have subscribed to stay updated for our regular videos. Join our WhatsApp community using the link in the description because we share more knowledgeable content every day. Thank you for watching. See you soon in the next video.